and it's a fundraiser for an organization that's near and dear to my heart, to say the least. But it will be, for all intents and purposes, it's sort of combining the artwork or sticks and stones with, well, human rights, which is freedom of expression, freedom of art, and all of that, artistic freedom. So that's a little bit of the theme, and it's stretching it a little bit, but we just kind of figured this is such a fun event, why not combine a fundraiser for this organization with this event and just make it work. Yes, every piece hopefully will have a little stand that has the name of the artist, and what they don't have, unfortunately, is they don't have too much bio on the artist, but at least it gives them.
Guides will fill that and get them educated.
Right.
All of you to sort of be greeters, okay, and welcome people to Sticks and Stones, okay, and likewise when they leave, sort of thank you for coming, okay. So they'll come in.
They come down here. The van drops them off right there, and that's where. And the greeters will have to be standing pretty close to where the van drops people off, because people get off the van and they're not sure which direction to turn in, and how it all works.
Exactly. So. And we will have little catalogs, if you will, and I guess maybe we'll have even a little one of the baskets as people greet, and then there'll be baskets throughout the property that will be filled with catalogs. So we'll also assign a role and responsibility that includes making sure that those baskets are replenished, and that people know that that's where they can get it. And you'll see the work. There's a label stand. Not everything has a label stand quite yet, but this is a label stand. It'll have the artist's name and a little brief bio. There are 9 artists who have done, along with a composer, and audio. There will be little CD players right in this little thing. What I'd also like to do as sort of part of the role and responsibility is assign someone to kind of go around and make sure people are not fumbling with the CD in terms of trying to find where play is. I've requested that the CD is sort of an auto loop, so there shouldn't be that issue, but in the event somebody's pressing pause or stop or something, you guys are very conversant on CD players and technology, so you'll know what to do. And there are 8 of these on the property and 1 in the garage. The recordings are not so much, hi, my name is Eileen Tognini, I was born in 1972. I went to school at such and such, and this is my piece. It's not like that at all. In fact, they'll all be very, very different from each other. It might be about the piece of work that they've done. It might be about how they work in their studios. It might be why they chose stone versus basket weaving, etc. If you've driven by 34th and Market, you might have seen the Drexel Dragon. That's also the work of Eric Bird. So this is sort of a paperweight for Eric. He works pretty big. His work is owned by zoos. He actually did the primates at the Philadelphia Zoo. So you kind of get the picture. It's sort of his area of expertise. Actually, it's great. I had Adam participate in a show that I had done at a gallery, and gratefully this piece landed here at Liz and Mike's. But plaster is obviously not an outdoor material, and it looked really fabulous out here, and it's a big piece to certainly have indoors. And little by little, we would see little chips, and Liz said, I love this piece too much, let's cast it. So luckily for Adam, this was really his first official piece that was cast in bronze after the Academy, which is a really, really good feeling to know that a piece is basically made immortal. And it's the Tower of Hypnos and Thanatos, which is the Tower of Sleep and Soul. So if you walk around it, you'll see lots and lots of wonderful things. His influences are Japanese architecture, Islamic religious symbols, and you kind of get that impression. It's very Buddha-like. This piece is called a Boreal Timber. It's done by Craig Levitt, It is forged iron and copper. The trunk is primarily copper. That's why you'll see a little bit of a difference between it, if you will, on the roof as well as the branches. The wonderful thing about this is, first of all, it looks like it's architectural and it's weight bearing. And it's a little bit of an illusion because it does not carry any weight. It could. Certainly it could. It does not support the roof if it were removed. And the illusion is only successful because Larry, who works very closely with Liz and Mike for this commission, basically built a 2-scale facsimile of this portico so that Greg did not have to create this amazing piece by either paper templates or measurements and be off because the stakes are too high on a piece that's this big and heavy and cumbersome. All of the branches are basically can get pulled out and deconstructed for movement and then reassembled here on site.
But it's never getting moved. So.
Right.
Now it's here, it'll
Right,
never move.
exactly. But to move it from his studio to here, those pieces were assembled and then brought in on a flatbed bed. So there's some magical things about it. There's a lot of magical things about it, but one of the things to notice are these wonderful little portraits that are forged into the trunk, or into the trunk. In this illusion that the roots sort of wrap around the rock, makes it really feel like it.
It's all steel and copper, and when it came, none of the leaves were on, so Greg came and put the leaves on. He had one of those little lift and spent a month here putting the leaves on the tree. Last year, robins nested in the tree, and this year, we have more nests.
Yep.
Isn't that great? Which is incredible.
A very happy home. Martha's work tends to be very much about sort of the female and mythology and sort of what women experience. And so there's lots and lots of connotations, obviously, about the bed, and whatever you're thinking is probably right. But part of it is also about sort of coming into this sort of very private little place and that sense of discovery and all the meanings that are related to the bed. So we can walk in here and look at this a little closer because there's some really special things about it. First of all, the last time this piece was shown was at the Allentown Art Museum. It has never been, and that was in 2002. It has never been seen in an outdoor environment, which is really interesting because it seems so outdoors, and it is. And it's constructed with honeysuckle vines and Osage orange roots, and there's root balls and, you know, all this wonderful natural material. The bed itself, the cover, is all completely hand woven with silks and polyester, and woven in there is also synthetic hair and human hair, both also on the pillow. Martha uses a lot of those materials in her work. And so once again, sort of that relationship of women and those materials. You know, if you look at how this is woven, it's sort of woven like little pot holders, and they're sort of joined together. I mean, this is sort of almost a cottage trade of joining pot holders together to create a quilt. And so, you know, metaphorically speaking, even that action of weaving and joining stories in quilting and, you know, piecing things together is a very sort of female-centric kind of thing. None of this, except for the leaves, was from the property. This was all on a 26-foot truck yesterday. I mean, all the vines, all the root balls, every leaf, you know, this stuff. And Martha lives on a farm in Easton, and which is just incredibly rich with sort of natural resources and wild animals and stuff. So that also is a lot of her reference, sort of what is she surrounded by. This is a piece by Deborah Rosenblum, who also did Emergence up there. this was originally sculpted in clay. A mold was made of it, and then it was cast in a material called fortime, which is a synthetic. It's a resin. It has what's mixed into the compound or the composite is marble dust, so that when it's polished, it really has just this beautiful, beautiful sheen, almost like marble. And one of the things that Brent loves is coming across these are called crotches of a tree, and obviously he's turned it upside down. He lives in the woods in Maryland, so his material for his work is abundant. And this is basically copper piping that's been sort of flattened and turned into. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But this work is by Gianni Benvenuti, who's about 80. He's 88 years old. Was one of the guys that spent many, many years in Pietrosanto, which we talked about, and primarily works in marble and granite. And this is cast concrete, actually. It's the first time he's ever done that, because he's a bit of a purist, but was happily surprised by the outcome of this cast concrete. So Gianni was born in Italy, and so that's another wonderful thing about the show. We have participants from 18 to 88, all in the same show.